going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way.
Hi, family.
What's going on, y'all? It's Robe.
And it's Mima.
And you're watching the Pierre Wade podcast or listening to the Pierre Wade podcast.
Hi, how are you guys? You guys are good? Excellent.
Okay. We are talking about money today.
Money, 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 money.
Money. We're talking about finances.
L'argent, dinero, cash.
Cheddar.
I don't know if coins.
Bills.
I don't know. The credit cards count.
You lost.
No, I lost.
We're talking about money, y'all, and money management and all of that comes with it.
Yeah.
And so here's a bit about money from us. So our notion of money growing up. So for me personally, growing up, no one really taught us about money.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up as a kid, financial literacy wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't have classes about money like in school either.
Yeah.
That taught you how to budget and all these different things. I think for us, for me, growing up with immigrant parents, I saw a lot of hard work,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw a lot of trying to get by.
Yeah.
That's just, just trying to get by. Just hardworking mom, hardworking dad, working to make sure that we could have food, to make sure that we had clothes, to make sure that we bills are paid, and trying to just figure it out. And working wasn't just going and, clocking in somewhere, but working the money, being in different ways, working their gifts to just bring money in and being in a relationship with people that kind of like help them money wise as it relates to like, I buy this from this person or I get this from that person. So working in community, but there was never like, for me, I've never had a conversation about money on how to steward money. I've never had a conversation about saving. And so growing up, I just saw money come and I saw money go. And with my biological mom, she was like a lottery queen. So I saw tons of money coming in, and then I would be like, and they would go out just as fast as it came as fast as it went out. And so, and I saw a lot of dependency on money as it related to happiness and joy. And so when I got into being an adult, there was really no training. I was making money,
Trying to figure it out.
making money and spending it.
Yeah.
So that's my history with money.
Yeah. I mean, similarly, I didn't take any financial literacy courses. My parents, hardworking immigrants, so I knew what it meant to work hard, right? To go to work every day, to make a living, to make money, to put your all into stuff. But didn't really have conversations around like cash, how to manage it. My dad is like someone who is like a financially savvy individual. So like
he is.
He definitely like taught me money as it relates to like how to count bills. Like when we went to stores, he made me pay. Like he'd give me the money to pay cash. But like beyond that, not too much. Like I remember my dad one time, I must have been a teenager. He was like, "Don't ruin your credit; it'll ruin your life." That's it. I was like, okay. Oh, whatever.
Don't ruin your credit.
It'll ruin your life. Which there's some truth behind that,
Right, right.
I think probably was when I was 18 because I think like I had a credit card come to the house and he was like, "Don't ruin your credit. You're gonna ruin your life. You ruin your credit." And I was like, whatever. And I just spent. I spent. And I remember my freshman year of college, I like was using my credit card like crazy, but of course credit cards have limits, and so ran out my limit. Wasn't paying my bill, so I didn't understand the responsibility of paying a bill, right? Like I didn't really understand like the idea of a credit card that like it's not money that you have. It's borrowed money that you need to pay back and comes with interest.
Right.
So I just didn't pay it. And of course it accrued interest and was messed with my credit. And so I also had like a campus job, so like had a debit card. But of course, that money came only as much as it was like, made. So one time I remember I went out to eat with friends. I used to be a cheerleader, and I was actually like a cheerleading practice. We went out to eat, and then it was time to pay. We're like, yeah, we'll split the bill. So I gave my credit card. It was like, yeah, declined. I was like, okay, whatever. Use my debit card. Declined. And I know, embarrassing. At like a table with like 5 people.
It's like one of my biggest fears.
Oh my goodness. And I pull up my whatever account I had, the online banking, and I was negative like $200. So of course I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is embarrassing. Luckily they were my friends. They're like, oh, we'll cover you, it's fine. And I called my mom because what used to happen is I would spend money and my parents would basically bail me out financially. And so when I saw I was negative, whatever, left the dinner, and I was like, yeah, I got you guys, I'll pay you guys back. Call my mom, like, yeah, mom, I need money, like I'm negative 200. And we must have been going through like a really rough patch financially, because they were paying for college for me. The recession had recently hit, so just trying to make the ends meet. And so when I told my mom, like, mom, I need money, like I'm negative. My mom's like, Mima, I don't got it.
Wow.
And that literally, if I really think about it, that's like the time where like I immediately had to switch my mindset when it came to money, because it was like, oh shoot, but mom, I need it. Like it was always just like, mom, I need money, dad, I need money, and it was just given to me. But now that my parents were like, we ain't got it, you got to figure it out. You have a job on campus, we can't help you anymore. And so that's when I had to like finally grow up at 17. But the funny thing is that like we both had jobs as teenagers. Like we both worked, we made money, we worked hard. But when it came to money and managing money, we just didn't have it.
I mean, the thing about it is I made a lot of money really young. Yeah. So junior year of high school, I was working at a law firm. Yeah. And we were like, I was after school going to the law firm. I was making so much money. Yeah. For a 16-year-old, right. I was making a lot of money. Right. And so it was never that. And then for me, what was different was that when my biological mom passed away, I was getting Social Security money and I was getting money that she left. So it was like, yo, I'm getting all this money. And it was like, I was just spending and spending and spending. And there was no thought. And I think, I was smart and witty. So I kind of manipulated my family into giving me money. Even though they wanted to say, I'm like, I need a new laptop. I need a car. I need a this. I need a this. Where's this money? I never got the real understanding of it. Yeah. And then we get together.
Yep. So we were dating. We were both working. I worked at Walgreens for like a lot of my like time in high school. Yeah. You worked at like the children's place, I remember, in the law firm. So we get like we're together or whatever. And of course we're young and we're like, we want to get married. And so
we get married, and our parents supported us, family supported us.
Yeah, they helped us with the wedding for sure.
They helped us with the wedding.
We definitely worked to make money to pay for our wedding, but we didn't do it all.
No, sure. Your parents paid the bulk of the wedding. I don't mind saying that. Yeah. Like they worked and paid for a good portion. We kind of chipped in and did that, but. So we finished, and I remember we get married, and all the money we had, we spent on that wedding.
All of it.
All the money we had. Like, we returned home. No, we went to our honeymoon, and we didn't have anything.
We went to an all-inclusive resort.
Yes.
So, prepaid, and it was paid for already, right? Yes. So prepaid meals and stuff, but we didn't do any excursions. We couldn't afford.
No, we did. We did Dunn's River Falls.
We did. Yeah,
so we already had planned that.
Yes, so everything was already prepaid. Basically. We didn't have any money to do anything extra.
So then we finished our honeymoon and we fly back home. And then, our parents and our family so great because, in the Haitian culture, your family take care of your groceries when you return home. So our fridge and all that stuff was stocked with groceries. But then we looked at our account and we were like both negative, like hundreds of dollars, like fresh off of our honeymoon. Mm-hmm. And we had jobs, but it was just like, that was that. And I think we were just like, we were in love. We were like, okay, we'll pay it. Right. We'll get all that together. We were home and we were going to school and stuff like that. I was in grad school. You were working at that time.
I was working, yeah.
And then what ended up happening was that like we just kept on doing life. We never had like a money conversation in our marriage. We never did. I think everything hit the fan when like, I don't know, what was it? Someone came to cut off like
The water.
water or something like
Yeah.
that, and you called me like, yo, the city's here or something. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is so bad. I was like, what are you talking about?
Hey.
It's like the city's here, and your water is about to get out. And then I was just like, okay. And we all had to kind of have like a come to Jesus moment, like sit down, and then like we had to figure out budgeting.
Yeah.
And still to this day, we use this whole system where we had like our Excel sheets, and we was like, we need to list everything out.
Yeah.
We need to say, how much is this costing?
Yeah.
How much are we making?
Yeah.
We need to save. Like, we need to tithe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally putting in the systems and being intentional about the money that comes in before it comes in.
Yeah.
And like, and that took years of repetition and learning in order for us to kind of get that right.
Yeah, because we had to change our habits. 'Cause
Exactly.
we individually had different types of money habits, spending habits, ways of saving or not saving. And now that we were together, it was like, okay, we got to figure it out together.
Yeah.
Like, this is not,
Yeah.
you figure yourself out, I figure myself out. And then like we come together and then whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
no, we have to figure this out together. And it was difficult. It was challenging.
Yeah.
It took us some time to really
Figure
find
it out.
something that made sense.
So while we were in that rut, like, what do you feel like you wish you knew? Like, what do you wish you knew back then when we didn't necessarily were being intentional about our money, when we were just kind of like even pre-marriage and all that stuff? Like, what do you wish you knew back then?
I mean, just practically speaking, I wish I knew how to budget sooner.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I don't know what that would have taken at 15, 16 working at Walgreens. Like, if that meant I should have had been paying my cell phone bill to understand
Yeah.
money or whatever. But it's like, I just wish I understood budgeting a little bit more, because I think even when it came down to like maybe our wedding, we could have made some smarter choices even.
Absolutely.
Instead of just spending because that's what we want.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wish we knew a little bit more about budgeting. I wish my dad told me a little bit more about my credit ruining my
Right,
life,
right.
than him just saying it'll ruin your life and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I wish he kind of like walked me through what that means.
It's tough. It's tough for first gen. It's tough for first
And
generation
right.
students that are in school, that you see your parents working just to send you
Right.
to kind of school, because what we wish we had known, it's not like our parents knew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't necessarily think like our parents, like when you grow up in a household where the mode when it comes to money is survival,
yeah.
it's
right.
very different. It's
Right.
like, you're talking about saving. You're talking about
We
like,
just trying to figure out what we gonna eat
they're trying
tomorrow.
like when you grow up in that type of environment, money management is based on paying these bills and getting food on the table and making sure that we can survive another day.
Because the other part of it too, and this might be unique to our families, is that our families also take care of other people outside of the home.
Absolutely.
You know, family back at home in Haiti, or like, you know, other responsibilities and things. And so it was like,
It was all survival
Yeah.
everywhere. The money was all about survival. And so that's one of those things. And I think for me, what I wish that I knew back then is that there's more to money than just the present. I wish I
Right.
learned about delayed gratification earlier.
yeah, that's good.
And if I wish I had learned about delayed gratification in my teenage years, understanding that everything that you desire, you do not have to have right now.
Yeah.
Like, you want to plan for a rainy day.
Right.
You want to make sure that you budget. You want to make sure that you have all of your stuff in line.
Right.
And you don't have to bend to every craving. You
Right.
don't have to bend to everything you want to buy, every
Right.
trip you want to take, you
Yeah.
don't have to bend to it. And I think delayed gratification was so huge. And it's not a lesson that I didn't learn about that. I didn't accept it till I was well into my 20s. You know, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I really, really wished, even with like, you know, our wedding and all that stuff. Now it's like, I find myself talking to people who are planning to get married, and I hear people are spending all this money on their wedding. I'm like, wait, please,
Right.
please buy a house. Please,
absolutely,
please
absolutely.
own something. Please, like, you know, save. Do not come back from your honeymoon broke. Do not,
Right. Don't take out a loan for your wedding.
Don't
Like,
take out no crazy loan just so you can have a wedding. Like, that is crazy. There is much more to life.
Absolutely.
There's much more to life. And I think it's like saying that 10 years later, having been married 10 years in 2024 now, it's like, it's so crazy that we are thinking that way. But I still see people making that same mistake of just, you know, we're going to take everything we have and throw it into this one day, into this one moment. And I'm just like, no, there's so much more that's coming after the wedding. Is
Absolutely.
just, there's so much more coming after it.
Just
And
the
you want to
day.
pay attention. You want to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And so how did we like get out of that space? I think one, we started being intentional.
We sure did.
We started having, regular budgeting meetings.
Yeah.
We just had one the other day.
We did.
Like annually planning, like what does this year look like for us? Yeah. We started to plan for our money before it hit our accounts.
Yeah.
And so we didn't just wait till the money came in and then we were like, oh, what are we going to do with this money? No, we know that, hey, before the money comes in, here's where it goes. Here's what needs to get done. And we prioritize. A huge thing for us that happened is that it's, I guess, systematic habits that we've had with tithing.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like tithing is hard for a lot of people. It's oftentimes the first thing to go, especially when you're budgeting, is like, we just have to be able to pay all our bills, so we can't tithe. Or like my tithe is only going to be like more an offering than a tithe. Yeah. And I feel like when we really got to that place of like being intentional about making sure that we tithe our income before taxes, that is really when we began to see our finances really work for our good for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so like, do not discredit tithing, y'all. Like, make sure you give God the 10% that is owed back to him. Okay, It's already his. So you give it to him first, and then you do everything else.
Absolutely, because for us, there was a mold that we had to break out of. The mold is paycheck to paycheck,
right?
Not having enough,
right?
All of that stuff. That's what we had seen our parents do. And in order to break out of that mold, you want to have to work hard. You want to have to be consistent, but you also have to be faithful to God. Yeah. It's so important. And breaking out that mold is not easy. Like, we went to college, we got our masters, we did all that stuff, and we still found ourselves in difficult spaces,
right? Because
that mindset and those habits are not easy to break when you have lived in them for 20 plus years. So it's like we had to kind of like begin to systematically add some of these things in to say, no, this year we're gonna make sure we give, we're gonna make sure we sow, and then just out of that, we also wanted to make sure that when it came to how we spent money, we invested money.
Yeah.
We invested a lot of our money. So even now, our money is not just coming from what we get paid, but then we will put our money into different ventures, and we're not going to get into, I'm going to let the experts talk to y'all about that. We're not going to get into all the ways to invest, but whether it's, property, we invested money in different ways, and to say, you know what, this is an investment. We're not going to see it for 2 years, but it's here.
Yeah. And I think that's also like a part when we talk about community all the time is like, we were able to invest in certain ventures because we were around certain people who could educate us, who could inform us. Like when we really started to get to know different people in different spaces of our life. And it was like, yeah, I'm in real estate. Oh my goodness. Like you guys just look into this, whatever. And to get that wisdom, like we never act like we were experts when it came to finances.
Still now, you'll find us in the room. We're not going to be like, oh yeah, we know how to handle this. We know how to do that. No, man, because listen, once we started getting around people that really knew about money, we were the quietest in the room. We were like, please tell us, please
inform us.
Inform us. Like, how did you make that much? What did you do? And all of that stuff. And it's like getting around people who that is advanced and as it relates to their finances, like being around millionaires.
Absolutely.
Like if I'm in a room with a millionaire, I'm asking you a ton of questions. Like, what did you do for your investments? What are you all doing? And when you say it, y'all, I'm kid you not, we listen. Yeah. Like, I don't know how else to put it plainly. When we got around people that knew what to do with their money, and we tell them, hey, here's our situation. Here's what we have. Here's how our jobs.
Here's what we're interested
in. What do you do? And they tell us, y'all, and that advice is like literally affirmed in other spaces. We move forward with it. Like, I'll never forget this. Like when I first met our pastor, and we had a triple decker that was passed down, from my mom, and you know, I was ready to sell it. We were broke.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, man,
You have
this
to sell it.
money's not enough. I want to sell this house. I could make hundreds of thousands of dollars on this house and we'll be whatever. And he's like, don't sell that house.
Mhm.
He was like, you're not ready to sell that house. You're not ready. You're not ready for that type of money. You're not
Yeah.
ready. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we're broke. Like,
You're right,
they're about to
right.
cut off stuff. Like, we
Yeah.
need to figure this
Yeah.
out. Like, we got
Yeah.
a baby. Like, we need to figure it out. He's like, you're not ready. He's like, you need to sit on this house. Like, and he told me that for like 3-4 years straight. Every year, there were different times where there was financial constraints, all of that stuff. Every time he told us, he's like, you're not ready. And I listened. I didn't go forth and sell it. I was a grown man. I was like an adult. Like we were paying our own bills. We had a family, but he had been in the real estate game for a while. He had bought and sold houses for years in his marriage. He understood that. And he understood the mindset that you needed in order to be successful.
Right.
And I remember one year I went to him like, yo, I'm thinking about selling this house. And this is what I'm planning to do. I gave him a whole thorough plan. Once I sell it, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. He looked at me. He's like, you're ready. He's like, now. And the truth of the matter is I wanted to sell it just because I wanted money.
Exactly.
And if I sold it, I would have wasted all that money. We would have
Absolutely.
wasted all that money.
It would have been ridiculous.
And so, but then he also said, now, not only are you ready, but the market is ready. Like when I sold that house, because I listened to that advice, we made so much more money than we would have made. You know what I'm saying? And so you want to surround yourself and get advice from people that know what they're talking about.
Right.
Like,
Look at their receipt.
Please look at their receipt. Please do not take swimming lessons from drowning men. Like when it comes to money, you need to make sure the people that you are taking advice from, they're not just flashy with their money, but it's like, yo, they built something for their children and their children's children.
Right.
There's a legacy of wealth that is being transferred, because there's a point you get to with money. It's not about how much money you have and how much money you can spend. It's about how much money you're getting ready to pass down.
Absolutely.
Like you and so you want to get. Things begin to shift for us when it came to finances, when we surrounded ourselves with people and we started asking questions.
Yeah.
We started and being vulnerable with people about where we were struggling.
Yeah.
And people started kind of pouring it, and we took it and kind of like, applied it into our lives.
Yeah.
And ultimately we became really big givers.
Yes.
We became,
yes.
we became givers, and giving for us was not based on how much money we didn't have or how much money we had. Giving for us was like, God, we want to bless people. So we went like giving for us. I don't even know how to it's such a spiritual thing for us. It's like, God will say, give this, and we will. God will say, pay for this person at the grocery store, and we will. And the more we listen to the Holy Spirit, the more we gave, the more God began to give to us.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a practical thing, but I really do think money, and I know this, money is a very much so spiritual thing. Like if you're praying for wealth, God has to be able to trust you with wealth, not just for your own doing. Like if he blesses you, do you have the capacity and the maturity to bless somebody else? Yeah.
And we really do, I think we need to do more commending ourselves for our growth in that too, because I say to you all the time, like, I love what you've taught me about money, right? Is like, I think I used to really look at money as something that it's like, if I don't have it, then like it's a problem. and like I'm scared almost. And what like you've taught me is like money is literally just but a piece of paper, right? Like it's not our happiness, right? It doesn't take away from our joy. It doesn't take away from our marriage, from our family, from our household. It comes and it leaves. And in seasons where it may be on the up, we can be in joy, and even when it's on the down, we can still have tons of joy.
Absolutely.
And even that first year of marriage, when they were coming to cut off that water, but we still found ways to have a lot of joy in that. And so if you're in a season, maybe it's a rainy season for you, rainy meaning it's not so much, you're on the low, like it still can be a joyous season
money's not your God. Money's not your God. And I got that because I grew up with a mother who money was literally her Lord. Yeah. So when my mother would win tens of thousands of dollars in the lottery. And I remember vividly like 7:59 sitting in front of the television waiting for the lottery numbers to come. And when her number hit, it was a party. Wow. It was like, oh my gosh. It was like, yo, like everything's about to change. Wow. Like I'm talking about hugs, happiness, and all of that. And then what ended up happening is like when she would lose, it was like somebody died. It was like, you better not smile. You better not be loud. You better not be thing. And I remember, like, as a child, I'm like, yo, that's not going to be our home, man.
Wow.
Money's not going to dictate my joy.
Yeah.
Like, whether I have it, whether I not, I don't have it, God is still good.
Right.
Money's not going to dictate that. And so when we were in seasons where we didn't have money, even in seasons when we did have money, it's like, at the end of the day, God is good. We're still we're gonna be happy that we have breath in our lungs. We're gonna be happy that we have that, and we're gonna make wise decisions. With all of our money. And so, to you out there, if you like, don't let the surplus of money or the lack of it dictate your happiness. At the end of the day, your joy is found in the Lord, and as the Lord gives you wisdom, apply it. And as you apply it, hold each other accountable. If you're with a spouse, if you're married, if you're in a relationship with your family, hold each other accountable. Sometimes I'd be like, babe, there's too many Amazon boxes coming through here. What you doing?
No, he be calling me out. He be like, baby, you're dashing too much.
I'd
be like, hey.
So here's the thing. Her thing is Amazon boxes and all this thing. My thing, I just make one really big purchase.
Yeah, and I think I like my way better because he'll make one giant purchase and I'm like, how much was that?
I bought these one pair of sneakers.
And I'm like, are
and
you
she's
kidding
like,
me?
but holding each other accountable and knowing when to pull back.
Yeah.
And knowing when to have freedom. I mean, there's so much we can go into with these financial conversations, but being able to be honest, we share accounts. There's no like, she has her account.
We see all of our money all together.
We see all of it together, and we hold each other accountable with it, and we plan on it together. So family, we want to hear, kind of like some of your take on finances and how you guys are doing, and we want to continue to learn from each other. There are a ton of resources that we would recommend. We would recommend a bunch of books like towards it. There's a ton of people that are doing some amazing things that you guys should definitely get a look into. All of the things that you could be doing. We hope this was inspiring to you, and just encouraging to you, so you can continue to go forth and create wealth. That's what God said that we had the opportunity to do. We have the opportunity to create wealth upon the earth. And that's our wish and our goals, not just for ourselves, but for you. You're called to wealth. You're the head and not the tail. You're above and not beneath, and for all of the immigrant children out there, those with parents that, immigrated from another country, know that doesn't necessarily have to be your portion for the rest of your life. Know that you're called to wealth as well. And that mentality of just making it by, that's not God's call for your entire life. And with the right choices, the right prayers, the right sacrifices, and the right systems, you definitely can move forward and become someone that is favored and blessed, because you already are that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You already are that, and that's the goal and hope for all of us to really realize. That it's possible, man. It's absolutely possible, and we just got to do it together.
Come on, babe. Thank you, y'all, for tuning in on this week's episode of the PROA Quadcast. If you haven't already, be sure to follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, subscribe to our YouTube channel, type some comments down below. We want to hear from you, what you think about this episode this week, about finances. Share resources with one another, please, in the comments. Like, we want to see to be able to know, but also I know others are going to want to see to be able to know. So please be sure to type down there just any resources, tools, things that you've done, things that you are continuing to do, y'all. And let's build this community together.
Love y'all. Let's keep going onwards and upwards. Peace.
We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day, the Pierre way.